A study published on the National Library of Science tries to quench my theory. The study exclaims on what makes faces attractive and why. The authors argue that beauty is not just subjective or culturally arbitrary. They are consistent cross-cultural patterns that can be explained by evolutionary psychology. Beauty has often been described as in the eye of the beholder, in which you can all agree that it is. Yet modern research suggests that our sense of what is beautiful is not merely a cultural invention, but a reflection of deep biological and evolutionary forces. The study of facial attractiveness reveals that beauty is not arbitrary. Instead, it serves adaptive functions tied to health, survival, and reproduction. At the most basic level, faces carry vital information. People instinctively form impressions about trustworthiness, competence, and personality based on appearance. That analogy totally makes sense. That can be seen on how, let's say for example, Alicia or Kennedy walks down the street seeing a plethora of people who of course are strangers, yet through instinct and that good energy or other vibe can talk to that person who is appealing. The study goes on to say that attractive individuals are more likely to be hired, chosen or partners or even judged more leniently in court. This halo effect suggests that humans are wired to assign value of facial features, often unconsciously. I will expand more on this later in the video. With that said, a question still lingers. What makes a beautiful face beautiful? Symmetry being one of them, which is one of the strongest predictors, because symmetry indicates stable development despite environmental pressure. It is often read as a mark of good health and genetic quality. Similarly, averageness to faces that closely resemble the population average tend to be rated as more attractive. Evolutionary theorists argue that average faces may signal genetic diversity, lowering the risk of inheriting harmful traits, called dimorphism. The degree to which a face shows masculine or feminine traits, they really play a big part, because feminine features in women, often linked to high estrogen levels, are consistently preferred across cultures, likely because they signal fertility. Masculine features in men present a more complex picture. While they indicate health and dominance, they may also be associated with lower trustworthiness. Women's preferences or masculine men often fluctuate depending on hormonal cycles, relationship goals, and even environmental conditions. Skin condition is another powerful cue. Clear, evenly toned skin communicates current health. Subtle color variations such as redness linked to blood oxygenation or yellowness linked to carotenoid-rich diets further shape perceptions of vitality and attractiveness. These cues are not fixed. They can change in days or weeks, making them especially useful signals of immediate health. Importantly, beauty is not entirely universal. Context, culture, and individual differences all influence preference. A person's own attractiveness, hormone levels, or even parental resemblance can shape what they find appealing. Environmental pressure also play a role in regions with high disease risk. Traits associated with health become more highly valued. Social learning and exposure further refine beauty standards, meaning that cultural ideals interact with biological perception. Taken together, these findings show that beauty is not a shallow or trivial concern. Instead, it is a sophisticated system of signals and responses shaped by evolution. Further into my research, I found this article with the title, "Brain Rewards Us for Looking at Pretty Faces." It states that a group of men gazing upon beauty stimulates the brain's upure receptors, which is thought to be a key part of our biochemical reward system. To prove this theory, 30 men were asked to rate female faces while under the influence of different drugs, one of them being morphine, which will stimulate the brain's opioid receptors. The second one being naltrexone, which will block those receptors, or they will use another alternative, which was a placebo. The results were striking. With morphine, men rated attractive faces as even more beautiful and spent longer looking at them. With naltrexone, the ratings dropped and men spent less time on attractive faces. The placebo condition sat in between. This shows that attractiveness literally engages the brain's pleasure pathways. Beauty is not simply an idea, it is biologically rewarding. The opioid system, usually associated with pleasure, bonding, and pain relief, also reinforces our attraction to faces. In other words, our brains are wired to make beauty feel good, ensuring that we are motivated to seek it out. Attempts to quantify beauty date back thousands of years. The ancient Greek sculptor Phidias employed the golden ratio to structure his works, a ratio later echoed in Renaissance art and even modern architecture. This divine proportion was believed to embody aesthetic harmony and balance. Although biology offers universal cues, cultural ideals of beauty have shifted dramatically over time. Prehistoric representations such as the Venus or Willendorf emphasized exaggerated female forms associated with fertility and abundance. Ancient Egypt celebrated slender bodies, golden skin tones, and the use of black coal eyeliner to accentuate the eyes. Classic Greece and Rome idealized proportionate bodies and athletic physiques, linking beauty with moral and civic virtue. Renaissance Europe prized pale skin, fuller bodies, and high foreheads, reflecting wealth and leisure in agrarian society where sun exposure and thinness were associated with labor and poverty. The 20th century brought radical shifts. The flapper's boyish figure in the 1920s, the voluptuous curves of Marilyn Monroe in the 1950s, the super skinny models of the 1990s, and the fit but curvy Instagram aesthetic of the 2010s and beyond. Each era's beauty ideals reflect deeper social, economic, and cultural values. While universal preferences exist, the specifics of beauty vary widely across cultures and racial groups. White beauty standards often emphasizes narrow faces, thinner noses, smaller lips, and lighter skin. Asian beauty standards favor heart-shaped or inverted triangular faces, smooth contours, and often lighter skin as a symbol of refinement. In East Asia, cosmetic surgery procedures like eyelid surgery reflect these ideals. Black beauty standards, including fuller lips, broader noses, and pronounced mid-facial features, not forgetting that natural BBL, of course, there are exceptions. Within African diasporas, hair texture and skin tone have also been central to beauty politics. This can be seen in the discourse of where light-skinned individuals are said to have more grace and favor in many areas of beauty in professional settings compared to darker individuals. Latino beauty standards are highly diverse, reflecting indigenous, European, and African influences. Studies show preferences for less nasal prominence and reduced lip protrusion in some Latin American contexts. Importantly, beauty within these groups is not monolithic. Local histories, colonial legacies, and socio-economic factors all shape ideals. Moreover, migration and media have blurred these boundaries, creating hybridized standards that transcend traditional racial categories. In today's interconnected world, beauty is increasingly global. The spread of media and consumer culture means that practices once rooted in specific cultures now circulate worldwide. Korean skincare routines, Brazilian bath lifts, or the BBL, and Western contouring techniques have all become international phenomena. Globalization is eroding rigid boundaries between cultural beauty ideals, creating what some scholars call a global beauty culture. Yet this convergence can also reinforce narrow, Eurocentric ideals of whiteness, slimness, and youth, marginalizing diverse forms of beauty. Research shows that constant exposure to idealized image can alter individuals' perceptual adaptation, recalibrating what they see as normal or attractive. On one hand, social media democratizes beauty by giving visibility to diverse body types, skin tones, and gender expressions. Movements like body positivity and natural hair advocacy have gained traction through digital communities. On the other hand, social media also intensifies pressures through filters, editing apps, and algorithm-driven exposure to unrealistic standards. Thus, the digital age both broadens and narrows beauty culture, offering new avenues for representation while perpetuating cycles of comparison and self-scrutiny. As philosopher Heather Widdows argues, beauty today functions as a moral ideal, shaping not only how people are treated, but also how they judge themselves. This makes the study of beauty not just a question of aesthetics, but one of ethics and justice. And before going any further, if you would like to challenge anything that has been said in the video, why don't you put it in the comments below? And with that said, if you are enjoying what we are doing, why not subscribe? Thank you very much.